Hi all, and welcome to the video. In this one, it's my review of The Witcher 3. Now, one of the first things you're probably wondering was, did you like the game? Well, for the people that can't wait for the conclusion and want the answer in the first 30 seconds, yes, I liked Witcher 3. In fact, I loved Witcher 3. In fact, I think Witcher 3 is probably the best game I have ever played, bar none. Now, with that out of the way, let's discuss why Witcher 3 is so bloody brilliant. Now, initially, this game had a huge world, and I mean huge. Right now, we're looking at Geralt running through a town called Novigrad, and yes, this review will have quite a few spoilers. So, if you've not played the game yet, just take it as read that you are seriously missing out. Go buy Game of the Year and enjoy yourself. Now, the world itself is absolutely vast and open. There's no zoning in and out of a building, except on very rare occasions with cutscenes. You walk into a building and pretty much you're just inside it, as though the whole world is completely open. There are certain sectors and areas you do have to use the fast travel system to get to. If you visit Skellige, for instance, although it would be nice to sail and stand on the boat all the way there, you can't. But that's a small price to pay for the world design. It's absolutely enormous. Now, the story of The Witcher 3 is intriguing, it's in-depth, and it's mature. This is not a game for children, really. I'm not saying younger people can't enjoy it, but I think it's aimed at a more mature audience, an audience that understands a bit about life, that is somewhat jaded and can actually understand that not everything is black and white. There's a lot of grey in the world, and this is reflected in the world of The Witcher 3. Certain decisions and conversations you have are fleshed out. They feel full, like you're reading a 6,000-page novel. There's been nothing spared in scripting and sequences and dialogue in any of the characters you meet. Even the most superficial characters have something to say and have some kind of backstory. It's astonishingly deep. Mariana Trench deep has got nothing on The Witcher 3. Now, I don't want to discuss the story too much, because obviously if you've not played this game and you're thinking of it, all I can say is if you enjoyed a game like the original Deus Ex, which had vast, deep storylines, then you will absolutely love The Witcher 3. Even if, like me, you're not a massive fan of swords, sorcery and monsters, this game has converted me. I think it's not the setting, it's the story. Now, in this story, Geralt is not some superhero that saves the world, although he does do a lot of different things. He's more of an interloper in this world. He's not one of the main set players. There are other people that have far more influence and clout in this world, and his small yet important interactions with them have a vast and sweeping effect on the rest of the world. Geralt just goes through this world being the Geralt that you want to play. And the outcomes from various conversations and decisions you make have a vast effect on the entire story. The skill system is fascinating. It's a perfect balance of not boring and not complex. You can really set out and build Geralt in many different ways, and you can't min-max his character. You can't hit level 5,000 and max out every skill. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to plan, you have to learn. You can completely cock up your Geralt and have all the wrong gear matching all the wrong skills. However, to caveat that, there is a way around it. Yes, you can reset what you've done to the character and start over, but it won't be easy, and you may need to do an awful lot of farming to get those different things reset. The skill system is interesting, it's engaging. You look forward to building the next weapon, upgrading the next thing. The potion system is fascinating as well. You can upgrade various potions. You may discover a recipe in some random chest for a superior white swallow, but you've not even discovered white swallow yet, so you can't make it because one of the core ingredients is the enhanced swallow, and to make that you need basic white swallow. So the game will throw these things at you which intrigue you, interest you and engage you. And really, as far as skill systems go in standalone games, this has to be one of the best I've ever seen, and I have seen so many. The characters of Witcher 3 are stunning. They are varied, they are deep, and as I mentioned before, even minor characters are completely realised and fleshed out. If this was a movie, it would be Lord of the Rings only 10 times longer. There is so much depth to the characters within the world. Even simple traders that you meet in a town you'll probably only run through once have a story to tell that intrigues and puzzles you at times. The main play characters, the love interests, and yes, you can romance some of the ladies in Geralt's life. In fact, I believe you can romance all of them, although, as many men will find out in the real world as well, one too many women is not a good idea. You get to choose who you love in this game. You can feel honest about the decisions you make. Now, when I played, I liked Triss. I thought Triss was a great person. And there you go, straight away you know that I chose Yennefer. Yennefer appeals, I think, to a maturer player. I'm not sure why I think that. I think mainly because she has that level of maturity and calmness about her that would appeal to someone who's a bit older. Now, Triss, I think, to a younger man, a man who's more passionate, more sort of emotionally driven, as we all used to be once. The combat in the game is gorgeous. It is fluid, it is graceful, it is aggravating at times. You have to plan your techniques. It's not just random stabby stab. Oh no, you need timing, you need to wait for different monsters to behave in a different way before you initiate a particular attack. You need to be able to dodge, to roll, and there's penalties. If you roll, you lose stamina. If you don't have the stamina, you can't cast the spell you need to cast. It's a complex combat system that actually makes you think really quite hard. Now, there is a caveat to that. Geralt's general interactions in the world are at best bloody awkward. And that is to say, you want to loot a chest but you end up igniting a candle, or you want to talk to an NPC but you end up stealing his breakfast. Yes, some of the in-world general interactions are not the best, but CD Projekt Red do seem to know this, and they even make jokes about it later in the game and in later expansions, to the point where a player that's gotten that far in the game will probably find them hysterically funny. Now, the DLC. The first DLC I played sequentially. So I played The Hearts of Stone. The story of The Hearts of Stone puts some games to shame, and yet this was a simple DLC, and yet it was huge. It was interesting, intriguing, there were a lot of decisions and outcomes you could make, and it felt very organic, and just like the main game, it was completely fleshed out. Every character that was new had some bearing on the story, was fleshed out, well written, well acted. I mean, it's difficult to flaw the DLC in any way. It added not just a new story and adventure for Geralt, it also added new characters and interests, a new romantic possibility. It also adds let's face it, are new additions to the skill system that were welcome, and for a lot of players rejuvenated their characters they'd played for 300 hours plus and had run out of things to do. With the new skill system, obviously they started to feel, well, after completing this, I've now got different gear, different weapons, different skills. I can move on and maybe even play New Game Plus and replay the entire game as a very powerful Geralt, but with monsters and people that also are equally powerful. The world of the first DLC is in the same world, and yet it's in an area that you probably haven't been to if you've already played the main game. You may have if you're a real explorer. The characters in that world, the new one in the DLC, are fantastic. They're interesting and, as I say, completely fleshed out. It's the kind of size DLC that some game producers would release as an entire new game. It could easily have been Witcher 4. It was that good. The last, sadly, DLC, Blood and Wine, is an even bigger story than the Hearts of Stone. It takes place in a brand new land that you have not been to because it doesn't exist unless you have the DLC. The story is as big almost as the main quest line in the main game. It's huge. If you were to combine Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, it easily could have been Witcher 4. But a lot of game companies would have released this as a new game. It's that big. The stories, the characters, everything about it feels like a completely new place, and it actually is. It's a new world for Geralt to be in, and it's almost as if you've bought Witcher 4 and started a brand new game with your old game save. It's that good. There's a lot of emotional wrenching and intellectual and moral thinking needed in The Witcher. You find yourself asking, am I making the right choice? Am I being selfish? You question your own morals, your own values. You question, who am I really? Why do I make decisions like this? It's an incredibly powerful piece of writing as far as the game goes. The characters' faces and expressions perfectly match the actor's performance that they've given when recording the voices for these. I don't know if they did face capture, but by God, it feels like it. This is on an equal par to the sort of work we see from Andy Serkis on a good day. The characters are believable, you feel them, you know when not to trust them. Whoever did this acting for the faces is a bloody good actor. So overall, yes, I absolutely loved The Witcher 3. Now, I've played over 200 hours in the main game, and I've also, in addition to that, played, I think, another 80 hours in Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone. And I've waited 2 weeks since completing the game before making this review. I wanted to be outside of that honeymoon period you have with the game upon completing it. If I'd have made this review 10 minutes after completing it, or now, which is 2 weeks later for me, it would have been the same. I still feel exactly the same about how brilliant this game is. It is an absolute masterpiece. If you buy only one game this year or the next, it has to be The Witcher 3.